NVIDIA, should I stay in or should I get out? My name is Chuck Whitman, and I train great traders who lead great lives. Traders I've trained have generated in excess of $1 billion and are found at some of the largest proprietary trading firms and hedge funds in the United States. So let's talk about NVIDIA. This is the hot topic. NVIDIA, of course, has been the stock of 2024. Could make the case it was the stock of 2023 as well. And it's had a sharp sell off in the last week. So I want to look at this and talk this through with you so you can get a sense of how we frame this. So first of all, I want to say this. There's an illusion going on right now, and that illusion is that the stock market is really strong. Why do we say that? Well, the S&Ps and the NASDAQ as recently as last week made all-time highs. When we look at the news, we look at the headlines, everything looks like stocks are really strong, but that's actually not true. There's only a handful of stocks that are strong right now. The market is showing some of its biggest divergences of all time through all kinds of different metrics. Percentage of stocks above their 200-day moving average, one of the lowest of all time. The plurality of the indexes. We see the Russell going sideways. We're seeing the Dow really struggle. We're seeing Dow theory, the Dow transports are been in a downtrend. There's all kinds of stocks now that are in strong downtrends. But there's a handful of big names that have been holding the market up. And the biggest one of all is NVIDIA. So let's look at NVIDIA. So first of all, one of the things that we want to see is NVIDIA put in a significant high last week. And we're going to look at a couple different charts here. But essentially, you can see on the right, this chart is daily candles. And you can see it's had this strong uptrend since earnings back in May. And then it put in what we call an outside day down on pretty high volume. Whenever we see outside days like this with significant volume, these are points that we want to watch really, really closely. So an outside day down, and then it followed through. And not only did it follow through in heavier volume. And then yesterday it was down again on high volume as well. So we're seeing a lot of selling coming in. On the higher time frame charts, it doesn't look quite as bad, but you can still see this weekly candle from last week, huge supply tail, and we took it out the low of that right away yesterday. There are signs that these highs from last week that they're going to be in for a while. And when I say a while, we'll come in here and we'll look. I think there's a good chance that these highs are in for sure until the fourth quarter. I think this high will last for the rest of the third quarter, and it might even be a yearly high. But that doesn't mean that NVIDIA is going to stop going down. So we know we've got strong selling coming in, but we also know that NVIDIA has gotten oversold. And if you look at the headlines today, the headlines are a little bit, they're not panicky, but very, very negative. A lot of fear. You can read fear in the headlines about NVIDIA. One of the things that we look for is where does the market trade? Where does it create distributions of volume? This is a chart with 75-minute candles and what we call a profile. I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to screenshot this so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Right here, there's a bunch of volume back from in early June. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this volume from the profile, and really this is what we're talking about right here. This volume right here, and I'm going to extend it sideways. And this is essentially a strong support. And then I'm going to do the same thing off of this high. I'm going to take it down. There's a pattern here that we teach that's present right here. This is a strong resistance. I think this resistance is going to hold, but this support level right in here is really important. This support level could hold, and if this holds, then we're going to get the market to come back up here. Now, once it gets up here, I think this is going to hold. So kind of longer term, we're either putting ourselves in one big box like this. We're going to range trade through the quarter. That's one scenario. Another scenario is that we break down in here and then we break this level. And if we break this level, then we're going a lot lower. If I look at this, if I go up a time frame and I look at my monthly chart, this is, by the way, a very, very powerful area where this high came out of. It came out of some extremes, some volatility extremes that we measure. If we take out that weekly level that I just showed you, I think we're looking at going here, which is all the way back down to 90. Now, I mentioned these support levels. So right here is the one that we're zeroed in on. There's another one right here. But then if that one doesn't hold, then we're looking at here. And I'm not sure this one will hold. That's what brings us back down to 90. The top of this is like 95. The low of this is like 75. But if I really just look, if I just look here, if I just extend this across, you can see that's about 90. And that's where I think there would be big support for the stock. So to recap, we're in a situation where we're at a very important support level. If this support level holds, then I think we can go back up to 135-ish and we'll range trade for the quarter. So in that scenario, having strategies that had butterflies, that were short upside call spreads, this sort of thing would be really profitable as hedges against your longs. So being long NVIDIA and then short upside call spreads, or being long NVIDIA and converting it into long butterflies where I'm long like the 120 strike, so I have limited risk. And maybe I'm short 2 130s and long a 140, something like that. That position could work really, really well. Because if we go sideways, that butterfly will just gain in value and you're protected. If this support gives way, then we're going a lot lower. Like I said, we're going all the way potentially down to as low as 90. And if I was long and the support gave way, then I would be getting out. I'm going to be monitoring today. If we see some strength off the open, then I'm going to get long, and I'm going to get long probably in some type of butterfly like we talked about here. That's the video. Hopefully that helps. I'm Chuck Whitman, and I will see you soon.